how you can find real estate investing opportunities that other people may miss. Guys, when it comes to real estate investing, there's a couple of things to keep in mind here. We are looking for a few things. We're looking for equity and we're looking for motivation. Okay, those are the kind of the two things that we're looking for. Now we can find these in one of two ways. We can look on stuff that's on the multiple listing service. With that, we can say stuff that's been on the market for 100 days or more. We can look at stuff that has been off the market, just came off the market where it expired. There's lots of things that we can do on the MLS. And with all of this, I would recommend that you use MLS Sniper. We've got a whole video on that, how to do stuff on the MLS. I'm going to focus this video on how to go after off-market properties that have equity and have motivation. So to do that, we got to use some software. Okay, guys, so here's basically the categories that I think are the most overlooked by people to find good investment deals. The first one I'm going to talk about here, this is just in Atlanta, Georgia. The first one I'm going to talk about is involuntary liens. A voluntary lien is something you agreed to put on your house. It was like having a mortgage. You signed on the mortgage. We owe you that money. An involuntary lien is something that's put on the property as a judgment or a collection or a tax lien, something like that, where you've got something that you didn't pay that is now attached to the property. Now, somebody may have an involuntary lien for $100 or $200. I tend to say, what's the amount that most average people can't take care of? And I think that's somewhere around $5,000. So if I look at that, let me show you these filters I've got in here. So this is what we've got. We've got stuff that's not on the MLS. Now you could say on the MLS, but that's a different video. We've got things that are going through. They have a $5,000 lien that's involuntary, okay? That's what we're looking for here. We want to make sure that the property is worth less than $500,000. That's just my own investing criteria. And I want to make sure that the equity has at least 30% in equity because I want to make it something, there's enough equity for me to make a deal happen. Now, how do we determine that equity? I will show you here right now. So with each one of these properties, what happens, as a matter of public record, we can come and see what the last transaction history was and what it was purchased for, okay? So that's what we can look at. Now, based upon that, we can come and say, okay, we know there was a lien on this property and we know that lien was for 1.4. Oh, that's the lien. That's 1444. That's the involuntary lien that's on there. Let's come back here. Arm's length. It looks like they don't have a mortgage on this, so that's not the best example. Let's use one that does have a mortgage. Open mortgages, 0. Let's try and find another one. Okay, these guys owe $253,000. These guys took a loan out. They financed this in, what year is that? 2020. They financed $279,500. Now, they may have bought it for more than that. They may have bought it for $300,000, put $30,000 down, and bought it for $279,000. Or maybe they financed, maybe they put less down. It just depends on what type of loan they got. But what we do is we say, okay, if they bought the house in 2020, what was the average interest rate in 2020 for a 30-year fixed home? And then if they owe $279,000, then we do what's called a reverse amortization. So right now, if these guys have been paying their payments, they would owe about $253,000. They originally owed $279,000, so they've been paying that down. Now, what we know in this situation is they have an involuntary lien of $6,321, which is one of these judgments or collections or tax liens that is attached to the property. The other thing that we do is we have an estimated value somewhere between $369 and $376. Now, is this what the house is going to sell for? No. But it's a really good idea to know if I should spend time on this. This is used an AVM, automated value management, and it also is using intelligence to determine what that property is worth. The only way to really know what that property is worth is to dig in the comps and give it the time that it needs. I don't want to dig into that until I get closer to making a deal happen. So for this purposes, I'm just going to use it. And if there's 30% of equity, which 253 to 369, there's 31% of equity, $115,000. It's worth it for me to go after this property. Okay, so these are called involuntary liens. The next one that I want to talk about is bankruptcies. Knowing that somebody went into a bankruptcy. So this is the same thing. This is somebody that's in a bankruptcy. This is someone that's, let's just do this. They're not on the MLS. You could do $500,000 or less and 30% or more of equity. There's 1,691 properties that meet that same criteria. Everything else is going to apply on these like we talked about before. But those are people in bankruptcy. If you're in bankruptcy, you have a problem, right? You have a problem. You've got to fix that problem. So that's the motivation, is the bankruptcy. The motivation is that involuntary lien. The equity is based upon the reverse amortization. Okay. Out-of-state owners. Okay. A lot of people own properties from out of state, and it's either a vacation home or it's a rental property or it's their second home. We can usually rule out if it's a vacation home or a second home based upon how much it is. This is why I want to stay under that $500,000. So we can go after those. Out-of-state owners have a problem. They want to get rid of their house in lots of cases because it's an unwanted house. And you can see there's a lot of out-of-state owners in this filter. Now you can come in with the software, you can come in and change these filters. So this is not owner occupied. You could say, I only want vacant properties, out-of-state owners. Let's see here. Under $500,000 with 30% or more of equity. So these are people that are going through bankruptcies of some sort. Non-owner occupied, this means that it's owned by someone that lives in the same state as where the property is located. This is going to be your distressed landlords, people that have properties that they may not want to own. This is our distressed landlords. Same thing, not on the MLS. You could change on the MLS if you want to. Non-owner occupied, they live in the same state, $500,000, 30% or more of equity. And I can add filters to any of these if I ever want to. The other one is pre-foreclosures, okay? These are properties where they've missed some payments and we know this is gonna be a pre-foreclosure situation. The idea is I wanna buy it before it gets foreclosed on. So we've got a whole list of those that are here. You can come look at the filters. And lastly, we've got failed listings. These are properties where the listing failed, which means they put it on the market and they wanted to sell it. But not only that, we want to make sure they also have equity in it. So we're saying it's failed. It's currently not on the MLS. It failed. It was $500,000 or less with 30% or more of equity. These are the properties. Now, then the next question is, okay, I've got these prospects that may be interested in selling their property that have equity and have motivation. How do I get in contact with them? Well, there's really just a few ways to do that. First way you can do that is you can go knock on their door. Time consuming, but it is something that you can do. Second thing you can do is you can send them a piece of mail. I recommend postcards. And our system actually has postcards integrated to that. So you can do that and asking them to call you. Third thing you can do is you can do a skip trace and you can call them. You can also email them. So some way, you know they've got equity, you know they've got motivation. If we're talking about off-market properties not listed on the MLS, stuff that's not on the MLS. MLS, we have a different strategy. To do these ones, you're gonna have to do what's called a skip trace, which costs about 12 cents per record. And with that, you're going to get, I'll just show you. Let's just jump back here, actually, contacts, skip trace. Okay, with that, and we'll blur this out so you're not seeing it, but with the skip trace, you only pay if information's there. It's gonna be the last known information. So it doesn't mean all these emails are correct. It doesn't mean all these phone numbers are correct. It doesn't mean any of that, but it's the last known. So you've got all these phone numbers you can call. You've got all these email addresses you can call. The mailing, this is the mailing address and this is the property address. You don't have to do a skip trace for that because we log into the tax records and see where the tax bill is actually sent. So mailing, you don't have to do anything, but you do have to pay for the postcard and the mailer and all those things. And the door knocking, you just go knock on the door. I have friends that have teams of door knockers that go knock on pre-foreclosure properties, and that's all they do to gain business and buy properties. That's it. They just knock on pre-foreclosure properties. They use the list I'm showing you and go knock on doors. I know people that just do mailing. I know people that just do calling. So there's a lot of ways to do that. One of the other cool things that we have is in these campaigns, you can actually set up a website as well with all of your information in there, and you can put that on the postcard or on the email so they can click onto it and see that you've got, you know, a little website posted for this. So those are the big things that we're talking about here to find these properties. To find these properties, you've got to be looking for equity and motivation where other people aren't, and doing some things to get in contact with them to help them with their real estate problems.